These recommendations are part of a report submitted to Parliament by the committee after more than 2 years of probing the operations of nomadic herdsmen in a bid to curb the recurring conflicts between herders and farming communities. The inquiry took the committee to countries in the sub-region such as Nigeria, Burkina Faso, and Senegal. Here is chairman of the committee, Seth Champong, on what informed their recommendations.
The inventory taking, after a period of stay, they move back, so they migrate back.
But the major challenge has been the fact that these nomadic herdsmen are known for not using the main borders to get into the country. So if predominantly many of them are not coming through the approved borders, how do you expect this recommendation that you are putting on the table to work when they don't even use the borders in the first place?
Post the 2016 Enhanced Act of the Ghana Immigration Authority, we have asked them to be armed. And the intention is, and it is the practice, if you go through every district of this country, we have immigration officers, and they are, by law, the leading agency mandated to manage our borders, so they do border control. So it is expected that wherever such crimes are cited, immigration will take control and do the necessary consular services, hence the recommendation.
Earlier, Fisheries and Aquaculture Minister Elizabeth Afolekwe was in the House to answer questions concerning her sector. She first apologized for her absence last week, which caused a stir in the House.
May you permit me to render my sincere apologies to the House. Mr. Speaker, on Thursday, I was expected in Parliament to respond to questions. Unfortunately, the call to respond to the questions came at a time when I was already on my way out of the country. For my ministry to have brought the entire House to a standstill, I plead for your forgiveness. I ask that you forgive me, and I promise that this will not happen again.
MP for Kumbongo, Ras Mubarak, made a statement on the need to curb the rising spate of vote buying and monocracy in the country's politics. The statement drew contributions from his colleagues.
How many of us, Mr. Speaker, can hold our heads high before God and man and say that we have complied and haven't at any point in time broken the law? How many of our constituents who have received bicycles, who have received motorbikes, who have received mobile phones, gloves, television sets, gas cylinders, and other items can say they have gone to pay the necessary taxes on the gifts? Mr. Speaker, as lawmakers, it should be part of our duty to help in the education of the relevant provisions of the laws that Parliament has enacted to our constituents and the general public.
Mr. Speaker, last week I was in my village, and this might sound funny, but it goes to the core. At that village, Mr. Speaker, I went to commission an electrification project. When I got there, the youth were very, very unhappy with me. The reason being that in the adjacent constituency, a colleague of mine had done very well, and I commend him, by getting them a sound system. And the next village, which is adjacent, their complaint was that in the night, when the other village engages in playing record dance, all the women from my village, they move to that village. It sounds funny. I tried to explain to them that, look, I've come to commission electrification for you. We had constructed the road for you, and they told me that the road had even exacerbated the situation because the asphalting of the road had made it feasible for the ladies to ride their bicycles to the next village and back. Mr. Speaker, it tells you that as a country, we still have a lot to do. We still have a lot to engage.
I'm suggesting that the worst part of it is that today, people are in positions who, frankly, do not actually know the philosophy of the parties on which they stand. People, they're sometimes difficult to tell the difference between an NPP person, an NDC person on any matter. because people did not come here based on any philosophy. They are members of parliament for a particular party because that is where he can win, not because he is aligned philosophically to any political groupings. That, for me, is dangerous for our political system. But we can change that. We can change that if we sit down as a group. I've said and I repeat it here, one of the major weaknesses of our democracy now is that there's too much disconnect at the top of the political groups.
The House has had cause to complain about the rising spate of monocracy in the country's politics upon a statement from one MP who has just lost his primaries, Ras Mubarak. They're calling for some reforms to ensure that our politics becomes much more deriding of this canker of monetization. Reporting from the foyer of Parliament, my name is Duke Mensopoku for Citi News.